Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben, and today Hector is away on vacation. He's out on the west coast of Florida enjoying himself with his family, so he's recorded a little message for you guys, so why don't we listen to it right about now.
Hey guys, sorry I can't be with you. As you can see behind me with the fake beach and the fake palm trees and the fake water, I'm having a fake vacation. No, I'm actually really on vacation, and I'm really at the beach, and I'm really enjoying my time here. I'm sorry I can't be with you guys. Matt, I'm sorry I'm missing your lounge act there in the 561 Music Lounge, but I'm sure it's spectacular. I can't wait to see it, and I will definitely see you guys soon, and I'll catch up with you guys next week. All right, talk to you guys soon. Have a great show, guys. Bye.
He seems to be having a lovely time. We all wish him the best. So, yeah, it's just me and Matt on the show today. But before I get to him, I'll tell you a funny little story. It's been really super hot here, like it always is in the summer, obviously. But the UK is currently experiencing a heat wave, it doesn't happen that often in the UK. And every time it does happen, everyone acts like it's the first time it's ever happened. So everyone's freaking out on social media and going on about it. And I was giving advice to my friend Lara because I'm very experienced now in terms of hot weather. So I was like, okay, so you got to get in any water of any kind. So if you can get in the pool, do that. But COVID in the UK, so probably not. So failing that, get in the bath. Failing that, get in the shower. And then she did. She got in the shower, and then she got in the shower in her clothes, and then just wore cold, wet clothes afterwards. So I think that worked. I think she managed to figure out a way to cool herself down. But yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd give you a shout out, Laura. It's nice to chat to you. I haven't spoken to you in a while. So, all right, then, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest. We have Matt Krug here. How's it going, Matt?
Doing well. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, me and Matt, we play in a band together, Name Ska Band, and it's starting to pick up a little steam again. So I've been seeing a little bit more of you lately, haven't I? It's been nice.
It has been nice. 2020, it was way too long. So
yeah.
It's definitely good to be getting back and playing music with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's, the kind of band that we are really had to wait until everything had opened up again. It's just, there's no 6 feet distancing with that kind of thing, so.
No, we're too close.
Mm-hmm.
Sweaty hugs. It wouldn't have boded well with the COVID.
No, not really. So, Matt is he's one of the managers and a show coordinator and the guy who sorts everything out at Propaganda in Lake Worth, which is it's really probably I would say it's the most exciting venue that there is in the 561 area. I mean, I'm sure some people might have different views, but that's my personal opinion. I think that if you want to see a band down here, like an exciting band that's catching fire, or a classic kind of legendary punk band of some kind, you couldn't really see them in a better place than Propaganda. And you do get them through as well, don't you? You get like some pretty awesome acts through there.
Yeah, of course, our main thing is the original local bands around here in our local scene.
Sure.
But yeah, we get lucky every once in a while with some national acts, some awesome tours and awesome shows. Because of our capacity, it's a small spot, so we can only get certain people like up until like a band coming up until they get too big, then they move on, or a band, I wouldn't say necessarily on their way out, but they're maybe their draw has just waned a little bit, and the hardcore fans are the only ones still going to the shows, and we can get them in there, so you can catch somebody that you used to really love and would never be able to see up close, and then see them up close, and it's really a score when we get to get one of them in.
I think a good example of someone like that is that you had Black Flag play. That was crazy.
Yeah, Black Flag was a big one. We've done so many just awesome ones. Richie Ramone was there. It was just awesome to have Ramone there. On the reggae side, now we couldn't possibly do Ballyhoo Pacifier in prop because they're going to be Culture Room, Revolution, or even amphitheater type shows, but we got them on their way up, and
yeah.
I think actually one of my I can't even remember. This is going to be what I was worried about on the show, is that almost 10 years of running the venue, my memory is not what it used to be,
Yeah,
or
sure.
my immediate recall. But
I
I'm going
bet
to try
for
my
names
best
as well. Just for
Oh, Face to Face is who I was thinking
there
of.
you go.
For me personally, Face to Face was a big one to have in prop. I couldn't believe we got them. I was really stoked on that one.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I came straight out of the gate talking about propaganda and the people you've had there, but it was really just as a kind of a form of introduction. But we're going to kind of stick with roughly the same format of questions as we ask everyone on here, because not only are you the propaganda man that makes things happen, but you're also a musician, and really kind of first and foremost a musician in many ways. So I just want to ask you. What was your early musical experience? Like, how did you get into it? Did your parents listen to music? What was going on when you were, right at the beginning there?
Well, funny, I'll admit something that I don't think a lot of musicians will admit, but from the very beginning, it was all about a girl. No joke, man. It was about. I was a young romantic. It was first grade. I could still remember it like yesterday. For some reason, my old memories I can keep. It's just the recent ones right. I lose. But first grade. So what? You're like 6 years old or something. And this girl Samantha Garcia, she played the piano, and I just wanted to impress her so much that I got my parents to start giving me piano lessons. So that's where I started, was classically training, playing piano, and luckily my parents forced me to stick with it, because nobody that starts playing anything as a kid in lessons, they always hit that point and they're just like, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to go play soccer or something. But my parents were like, nope, you said you wanted to start it, you promised if you started it you were going to finish it. So they held me to it, and played piano up until I picked up the guitar at 14.
I had no idea you played piano until you were around my house, and I have a piano in my living room, and all of a sudden you just busted out all this amazing piano just to come out of nowhere. I can believe it. But yeah, so it turned out you were real good at that. What kind of music were your parents listening to when you were young?
That's the thing. Your influence always starts before you can even. It's your own taste. You're going off the taste of your family or anybody that's around you. And my dad played some guitar, and I guess they had a little hippies in them. So, and from the time that they came from, there was a lot of, James Taylor, Carole King, Jim Grossi, Billy Joel.
Yeah.
That really was like my, we're going on vacation in the back of the car. That's my soundtrack, driving, listening to it, of course.
Classic songwriters.
But then, I got lucky. I had an older sister. She's about 10 years older than me.
Oh, right.
So, about the time I'm 8 or 9, she's 18, 19, early 90s. So I'm going into her room and stealing her NXS albums, Guns N' Roses and that kind of stuff. And, even to Wilson Phillips or stuff like that, you're just kind of like a sponge soaking up everything from everybody at the time. But I was pretty, I was kind of sheltered TV-wise and stuff, or so it was only what
like
they
on
exposed
purpose?
me to. Yeah, my parents were very Christian,
right?
And just they weren't really strict, but TV just wasn't really a focus for us. So I was pretty sheltered from stuff for a while until about like 4th grade. We had moved and went over to a friend's house and saw MTV for the very first time. And so 4th grade, I don't know what the year is about that, but I remember the very 3 first music videos in a row of what I saw, and the first one was, I think to this day, one of the best music videos ever made, and that's Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, but to never see anything like that, and that's your first music video, it just totally blew me away, man. I was like, whoa, there's a whole,
those crazy purpley, yellowy colors in the video and everything.
Yeah, and just
gnarly, that video.
Just the creativity and the artistry that goes into it that takes something more than a song. And I was like, wow, songs can be more than just the song. Like it's a whole experience when an artist puts their musical artistry with the vision that they have behind it and showing something. It blew me away. It was Black Hole Sun. Stay by Lisa Loeb, and Crazy by Aerosmith.
Crazy, remember that video was just on loop on MTV all the time.
Oh yeah, but that definitely spun my head on its axis, and like I was like, there's a whole bunch of crap out there that my parents aren't listening to. I need to get into this. And so then I started listening to everything I could. And I honestly think I would say when I found Metallica is what made me fall in love with the guitar. And like I have to play guitar. When you hear, I'm just listening to that. I'm mowing the lawn with a cassette tape and headphones at the time, and it was just I have to play guitar.
Which was the album? Which was the album Metallica that you first were exposed to?
Oh, I mean, about that time it was probably Load, and then I had to Load or Reload. Probably was about the time I was really getting into it, and then I had to work my way back to all the good stuff too.
What's Nothing Else Matters
too.
on?
That's the Black Album, I think.
Right, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Right.
That was before that.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, Metallica, when I found them, that made me fall in love with the guitar. Definitely, when I heard Rancid, well, Green Day was first, I think.
Sure.
I heard that. That was like my first punk I heard because it was the radio punk.
Yeah.
But luckily I found Rancid. I'm like, oh, this is my kind of punk.
Yeah.
When I attached on that, I was like, all right, now I know I'm a punk. Like, this is my stuff right here. And I think when I found Social Distortion, that was, for some reason, it just clicked with me. I know it's not everybody's favorite band, and they're not that complicated, but something about that made me want to be in a band myself.
Got great feel, Social Distortion. It's just a vibe. Like, how old were you when you were listening to all this punk?
That's like fourth grade, I think.
Right.
Maybe 5th to 6th was when it first was really going into it.
I got into punk a lot later. I think just the way I was brought up with, being at boarding school and stuff like that, didn't really make sense in my environment, And then, like, when I finally...
You didn't want to fight against the system in a boarding school, really?
Well, I did want to fight against the system. It just didn't... I mean, I listened to Green Day, and I listened to Offspring. There just wasn't that kind of... I was in the opposite of an urban environment. And, and I did like it, but I just didn't get it necessarily until I kind of... When I was 18 and I was out, well, maybe a bit younger than that, 16, 17, and I was out kind of, getting into trouble, and then it really clicked for me.
You had to get something to be angry about before it, like, really resonated?
I guess so. I don't know. I'm not sure what that was about. Well, when I was younger, it was more like, I was into, like, electronica and stuff like that, like Aphex Twin and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was a bit of a music snob because, like, I was a music scholar to a small degree, and I think I wanted music to be really sort of complicated, and also at my school there was a big, like, psychedelic trance kind of crowd, and my whole thing, it seemed to be more about dance music, all my friends and everything. I got pushed in that direction, but then I got it. It's funny because a lot of people, it's the other way around. Mm-hmm. A lot of people get into dance music in their, like, late teens, early 20s. I was into dance music when I was really young, and then I got into punk in my late teens, early 20s. Yeah. Kind of in reverse, yeah. I don't know how that worked out.
Well, they do have things are backwards over in the UK. Driving on the wrong side of the road, so let's go on the opposite. Oh no, that's Australia. I think that's a myth.
That's awesome.
But it's an amazing time for anybody when you're making that transition, though, and you're finding new stuff, and it's changing who you are just by the music. I don't know if it's more changing who you are or discovering who you are through the type of music that speaks to you. But it's such an exciting time. Nothing feels as big or as important or as life changing as when you're into that. At least maybe it's just me getting old now, thinking back and reflecting on it. But it's an exciting time, and it totally changed my life, changed the direction of my life with every different artist that I listened to, and those were the big artists. But I remember exactly when I fell in love with the local scene, which is why I do what I do.
Right.
The artists were seeing all these new bands and getting into it. They're unattainable. They're big artists and just huge big deals. I think my first show was a Mike Ness show, Social D, at the old Carefree Theater, which isn't there anymore.
That was your first show. That's cool.
Yeah, it wasn't. There was a Christian concert that I don't count. But, but yeah, Mike Ness.
It's not really a show, is it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't even remember the name of the bands, but it was one of the big Christian ones. So it really was like a rock concert, but I don't tell anybody that. Well, now everybody's gonna know.
Did you know we're like the 70th biggest music interview podcast in the UK? Isn't that the weirdest thing?
That's pretty good.
I know, it's super cool. I don't know who. Thanks, by the way, everyone who's listening to this in the UK, because you've made us like this. I think it's like the 77th or something. It's crazy. But yeah, big up, Ollie and Ben for listening to it.
Yeah, so Mike Ness was my first show at Carefree, but Carefree was probably, I don't know, like a 500 to 1,000 person seated theater. It still was a big show. But then the second one I went to was a Metallica show at like Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. So it's just massive amounts of people. And like I just always thought of these artists that I was looking up to as, they're big, they're on the table, they're at this level. And I don't even remember how I found out about going to a local punk show or but I can't even believe my parents dropped me off at it or something. I was probably like 15 or 14. I don't even know.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I didn't get to do. This is why punk took a bit longer for me. It's because that 14, 15 going to a punk show. That's when a lot of people fell in love with punk. Because that's the whole thing of it.
It was my first local band show was at Ray's Downtown Blues in Clematis, and I walked in there and I know Third Degree Monotony was playing. And a band called Damsel in Distress, and it just hit me. I'm like, wow, you can do this local. Like, you don't have to be that big band. People are doing this right here. You can do it. You can be a part of it too.
That's what punk's all about.
And it lit. Like, I fell in love with it immediately. Like, you can do what you want to do. You can do it too.
Yeah.
And it just struck me. I think also because the Damsel in Distress girl flashed the crowd, and it was like the first real pair of tits that I saw. So maybe that's why
I'm sure it didn't hurt. Yeah,
but no, it just that I'll never forget that feeling when I realized it was attainable. Anybody had the ability to do it. And I think that's really when I kind of fell in love with it. Started playing shows, with our own bands around like 18 or something, and one show Ray and I talk about it all the time. Ray and I were sitting in the back room of the show, settling up with money and just talking. And I looked at him. I told him, Ray, one day I'm gonna be you, and because I just wanted a place just like Ray's, a small club where people can do what they want to do. And Ray looked at me and said, "No, you don't. You don't want to do that." And he was only half right. He was only half right. But I fell in love with the local scene back then, and I knew I wanted to be a part of it in whatever way I could be.
That's wonderful. So I have a couple of sort of more music-related questions. Then I have a couple of questions relating a bit more to the club. But so in regards to the music questions, do you have a writing process when it comes to writing music?
Well, I think it probably changes from time to time. When I was younger and I had more free time, I would actually just sit with my guitar and play to pass the time and stumble across something that sounded good and then build off of that. I don't have that much free time anymore to just sit and play and mess around. If every once in a while I try to, but I'd say recently it's changed more to I'll be inspired by something I hear, and I may, maybe it's, just getting older, or I'm getting a little more jaded with the music in general. Like, I'm not as struck by like everything. So when something does actually stick out to me and hits me, I'm like, oh, I really like that. Yeah. But in my head, I hear it go something somewhere different than what they did. Yeah, yeah. And
no one said that yet. That's a new take.
Really? Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But
you like get directly inspired by stuff, like
yeah.
You hear it.
Well, and I could see, it's not like stealing, but inspired by something. And we're all influenced by each other.
Oh yeah, and anyone who says they aren't. So I was listening to the singer of LCD Sound System on a podcast the other day, and he was saying that like he's so sick of sort of indie bands when he was growing up, saying they only listen to all of this stuff like Xenakis orchestral music and all this kind of thing, but then they also just so happen to sound exactly like the other 5 indie bands they all play with. Right. And it's like, but apparently they all have all these super highfalutin kind of influences and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of kind of bending of the truth there. I think it's ridiculous to claim that we aren't influenced directly by the stuff that we hear playing around us, because we are, and and I don't think there's anything wrong with that either.
Yeah, and by no means am I saying that I would like actually intend or try and intentionally steal. I mean I'm really inspired. Like still, just really like how a chorus is arranged or something. But I hear it in my head. It would be better if they had went somewhere else. So
right.
And I can't get that sound of it going and doing something what I hear out of my head until I finally sit down and pick up the guitar and work it out. Or even if it's just like a rhythm or a feel of a certain part, I'm like, all right, I want to capture a feel like this and then write my own thing that's kind of trying to grasp that, but not copying it, but I just want to get kind of portray the same feeling.
Right.
And the great thing now, in being a band with you, and you're such a amazing writer, and everyone in our band is so talented. Like, so if I am inspired by a particular song or movement in a song so I have an idea off of that's already, 6 degrees removed from it, and then I bring it to the band and everybody puts their piece on it.
Right, yeah.
We end up miles away from where it started and like nowhere near the original song, but that's kind of how it's been working so far. When we first started No Name, you and I pretty much had most of our songs already written, like in our heads. Like I brought half of them, you brought half of them, and we'd each bring our songs. And I mean, we made several changes to most of them, like as we went. But as a whole, the general idea, the major blueprint was already written.
Yeah.
But now, with the new members that we have, name drop Andy Johnson, Justin Gianotsos, and Andres Valencia. He's been with us since the beginning, but our new drummer, our new bassist. This is actually a really exciting time for me when we do get in and practice and start writing. That we have no blueprint. Like we have like one little riff that somebody's got, and we just start there, and we just kind of discover the song like together.
Yeah, that climbing up the walls idea that we had, that was really a collaboration, wasn't it? We all just came up and just kind of cobbled it together, like, let's try. I really like it when you write like that sometimes, when it's just the band's in a room and it's like, all right, well, let's just go try and write it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't,
For people that don't play in a band, like, I don't think, like, it's hard to describe the feeling of when inspirations hit and things are clicking. And luckily with our band, we work so well together and everybody's just so talented and so creative that it really comes easy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, I got this little piece of something, we play it, you like it, and somebody's like, oh, that's awesome, I hear this, and we just immediately, and off we go to the races, and just it unfolds. And sometimes I have to pull us back. We're like, wait a second, we're going off in a too different of a direction. But we try it, all different ways, everybody's opinion or something, and whittle it down to what we feel it's supposed to be in the end, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like also something about No Name is that we're not necessarily trying to reinvent the wheel. It's like there's a sound world that we're trying to inhabit, and so we have choices of where to go rather than like we could do. It's not like let's do it in 13/8 and like have a gong in the middle. It's not that's not like what we're doing really. It's more kind of writing ska punk songs and just I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. It kind of is what it is. We've certainly veered away from. It's not completely generic or anything like that, but we definitely have a palette that we're using.
Yeah, in general, I think for those of you who, if you don't know the No Name Ska Band, that's our band. We're dual singers in the band, and we're really more of a ska punk band. But we touch a lot of our songs aren't even ska. I will admit it 100%. They're not ska. They're ska adjacent. Yeah. We got horns, but we mix in just about everything from metal to punk. Throw in some classic Stairway to Heaven influences or something like. Nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
We just throw everything that we got at it, and we're like, well, we got a skanking part. Let's throw a metal part right in the middle. Let's just try it.
Yeah.
Guys, just try it. Let's see what happens. We're not trying to fit an exact formula.
Now you say it is a little bit more out there than I was remembering it. Yeah, we do some crazy stuff.
We don't try. We're not. We just knew we wanted energy. We wanted the upbeats and the horns and the skanks and the punk. We wanted the energy of it. So that's kind of what we labeled ourselves, but we don't try and force it to be anything when we start something new.
The No Name Ska Punk Band doesn't really trip up the tongue quite as well. Doesn't it?
Like we tried to give people an idea of what we were with the name, but we couldn't be completely specific because we just can't.
No, exactly. It's a good laugh though. So, and actually, my next question is a good laugh as well. Do you practice?
Before 2020, we actually did.
Yeah, that's true.
It's somehow things have gotten complicated, but we're trying to get back into it.
The job. All of our jobs have kind of construed to make it very difficult to get in the room at the same time, haven't it? But it's not impossible. We're meeting up on next Saturday, right? All right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
But do you ever play?
We used to do. Me personally, we used to play once a week.
Yeah.
At a band, we would get together once a week, and sometimes it would be more of a practice and a rehearsal, and then other times would be, writing.
Yeah.
And we usually probably divide each practice up into, all right, we're gonna do our rehearsal time of running through stuff to be ready for the show, and then now we're gonna mess about and see what comes up and write. But you kind of, if you play out as much, and we'd only play 1 to 2 shows a month typically.
Yeah.
But even then, that's you can't not run through the sets. It's
you
not going to
the
be the same.
off for sure. Yeah.
So if you don't get enough time together, then it makes it harder to focus on the writing or the creativity or doing stuff, because you still have to get that rehearsal portion down to run through stuff to keep the chops up.
Yeah. So, in terms of like you and your guitar, do you ever find yourself playing it at home? Do you practice much?
Yeah.
Has it like solo kind of thing?
Yeah. Not as much as I used to, but every once in a while I do. Living with my girlfriend, I typically don't want anybody to listen to me when I'm just like messing around and discovering something new. Once I have practiced something or something new, I got it down that I feel comfortable with it and it's something worth hearing, then I don't mind. So it's harder to find the time where it's just me. But every once in a while, and in certain songs writing, very few of my songs that I've ever written, I think I sat down and said, I'm going to write a song. Usually it's just in my head, or I hear something even before I even touch the guitar. I already have something cooking in my head. Yeah. And I will have to get up and go pick up my guitar and sit down and play it and work it out. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep or whatever.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can relate to that. It's kind of how it happens with me. I feel like the pandemic and everything that happened in that got me back into rehearsing, and it's still stuck. I'm not practicing at home as much as I did mid-pandemic. That's all I was doing, but I've definitely, it's definitely stuck. I'm still doing it.
Well, don't you play gigs like 7 days a week? I mean,
yeah, you could call that practicing, but it's a well-worn rut at this point. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I try and keep it interesting, and we'll try and play something that we don't like, that we barely know. Just to try. But you can kind of tell when a band is rehearsing in front of you, so we don't put people through that too much,
Yeah.
A little bit every now and again if there's not many people there. So, right, yeah. The next question is sort of propaganda related, and it's having seen so many bands at this point. Because you must have seen more bands. I mean, I've seen a gazillion bands, because when you're on tour, you have to watch all of the guys who are supporting or you're supporting. So I've seen loads. But you at this point must have seen bazillions of bands. Would you say that there are things to do and things not to do when a band's first starting out?
Absolutely. how long of time do we got? We got. I mean, this is there. You know, there's so much. But I would say, you know, I just run my venue. I don't know if I knew the exact formula or anything. I'm not saying that I would. If I did, then I wouldn't be here talking with you. I'd be on tour.
Yeah, you'd be in LA talking like Mark Maron or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm not the expert. I don't think I am, but I definitely know some things not to do, because I see it so often. And but there's so much that I could say. But I would say that the one most important thing that I would want to stress to bands, and it's something that like people don't talk about, they don't think about, they don't put time into it, and it's the relationship of the band. It's the interpersonal dynamics between each other and the band. Make no mistake, a band is a relationship with 4 or 5 people. It's a polyamorous relationship, and you gotta have a relationship with everybody. And I think that more often than not, that can end bands or hurt bands that had potential, or even, you know, one really good musician, a really talented one that had a chance to make it, but then got in with the wrong band, and that band ended because of personal issues, and then he gets into another one, and that one does, and then he's at past a point, you know, where when forming a band, usually everybody's like, all right, we got a few songs, let's jam, and then let's just go, and it never stops. Yeah. And they don't talk about anything. They don't talk about what the direction they want to go. You know, I said the term "make it," and I've heard you talk about it on a couple of your podcasts. But making it can mean many different things to lots of people. Everybody wants to be the rock star and go on tour.
Well, there's this idea that you arrive somewhere, but you don't arrive anywhere. It's just you might make more money or something, but that's it. I mean, you know, there's the concept that one day someone hands you like a golden ticket and says, "You sir have made it." That's just not a thing.
Exactly. And but dreams can be there, like for certain people to be different things, but. Like, in my mind, you've absolutely made it as a musician because you pay all your bills with music in one way or another, and you have multiple avenues that you do so to bring in the money to support you, but you afford your life and you're happy with music in one way or another. And that can be one person's vision of making it, and then another person's only the dream, the rock star, we're getting signed and we're going on
getting mobbed when they walk down the street type thing.
But if the group that you're starting, everybody's got different definitions of that, or the direction that the band is going to go in, you're going to run into problems eventually.
That's absolutely true. And you know, I've come across, being in all the bands I've been over the years, that's been a thing for sure. And you know, one of the things, we had a manager, great guy, Liam Fekery, big up Liam. One of the time he said to us, just try all pointing in the same direction. Just, you know, if you all worked in the same direction for like, you know, 6 months, you would be, it'd be crazy how much would happen, you know? Like everything doesn't have to be a debate. Everything doesn't have to be an argument. Just kind of agree and just point in the same direction, and then all of a sudden things will stop happening for you. And it's a difficult thing to do, but you know, that's really is a big part of it.
Right, that's it. And I know you and I have talked about being critical of other bands that we see that are good. Like if you see somebody and they're really, really good, you kind of like get mad at them because
I got a lot better, but I was terrible with that.
You'd be like, God damn it, they're good. Fuck them. I wish I had, or I was doing what they were doing. You know, but that's a thing. I think most people have it to some way or other. It's
professional jealousy.
Professional jealousy, which is really, really, you know, admiration.
Yeah. Essentially,
but jokingly, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
But along those lines, I'm sure you've seen a band. I can think of a few that you thought just weren't really that good musically.
Sure.
They were simple, or it wasn't, you know, well developed or anything. Yet they are going a million miles an hour, playing gig after gig, getting on the road, touring, and they are kicking ass, and they're going in a direction. So the music ability wasn't there, but I guarantee you just like you said, they're all pointing in the right direction.
Yeah.
So everybody being on the same page as far as what the goals are, what you're trying to do with the band, and moving in that way, you can go way further than more talented and better singer and songwriters if they're not. And I think that's the problem. And if you work on that and you get that down, and then you have good music and talented singers, and you know, you put it all together, and you really stand a chance at accomplishing whatever the goal is that you guys are setting out for each other.
Yeah.
But if not, you're eventually it's going to shut you down.
Well, it's a little bit like being married, and you know, Christy always brings up, not in a bad way really, but like the Neil, who was the drummer in Sonic Boom 6, said to her, "Oh, you think all the things about him are cute now? Wait until 5 years. Those things you thought were cute are going to be the things that are really annoying." and you know, it's exactly. And Neil was saying that because Neil had been in a band with me for 5 years, and that's how he felt. So he was just giving Christy good a warning. And
Yep.
I just think that's absolutely true. You spend so much time with these people, you've got to make sure that you know there's some ground rules, and B, that you want to spend time. You know, that you can at least bear being around them a lot of the time, because if not, then you're going to be in trouble. You know, you're going to spend huge amounts of time with these people.
And also it's a conversation that really needs to happen when forming a band that not everybody does, and it's something that needs to be revisited because people change.
Yeah.
Over time, you know, you're in a band, and there's, like we were saying, there's many ways to make it as a band. So if one person's only wants to do his songs that he's writing because he's the best songwriter in the world and only wants to go this direction, then he's going to need people that want to do that. And other people are like, well, I don't want to work as an electrician. I'd rather play music every night and do a cover band and be a gigging musician and make a living off of it instead of chasing the dreams that I don't think's happening. And then, you know, and that changes with everybody in the band throughout the lifetime that you're together.
Yeah.
And just if you don't make sure that everybody's on the same page and constantly discuss it, and somebody starts thinking in a different way, they're not going to be happy, and eventually they're going to leave.
Yeah.
And whatever direction you're trying to go, if you keep having to it's going to slow down anytime you have to replace somebody and try to find somebody that's going your direction. And after you do that time or time again, it's eventually past the point and the steam's gone, and there goes the whole project. So I just think just like any relationship, communication is the key, right?
There you go.
But
Absolutely.
I don't think people focus on that enough, and I really see that as a problem for a lot of bands.
Maybe we should start an offshoot company of band therapy.
I think being our own band's therapy is enough for me. I don't think I can take other bands.
That's a fair comment.
That's just sad when I see promising bands that are just good and they eventually end up stopping or breaking up and moving on. When it's stuff like that probably could have kept them going or saved it, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear that. So, I think it would be criminal not to ask you, like who are sort of local staples that you really enjoy playing at Prop, and also who's coming through that's exciting and new at the moment, in your opinion?
Oh, and it's been. I mean, I've owned Prop for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
Before that, managed Speakeasy for a couple years, and John Jordan, my partner in Prop, and he was my partner at Sick Boy Productions before we ever worked our way up to Prop.
Right.
We were booking shows for, I don't know, 5-7 years before we even got into any of that. So I've seen so many bands.
Yeah.
And but the few that most of them are gone now. Like, and we lost a few through COVID, but you know, in each genre, luckily there's a couple that, you know, stick around. I mean, obviously Spread the Dub, the boys in Spread the Dub.
Yeah, of course.
They're like timeless. They don't even age. They just get a little fatter, but they still look the same.
Don't we all, mate? Don't we all?
Sorry, Mick. But I mean, they're awesome. They're hands down. There's a reason why they're a staple They're just amazing musicians.
I know, yeah. We're talking about like professional jealousy. I can be watching them and get a little bitter every now and again.
Yeah, every once in a while, because they're sometimes you, just because they've been so long and you see them so many times, like, oh, let's spread the dub, but
yeah, you watch them, you're like,
every once in a while
it
hits you, you're like, oh,
awesome.
There's a reason why they're still standing.
Totally.
But I think the thing about prop in our community that comes to it is that you get, every band might not be for you, but there's something for everyone, and you get some just crazy, amazing things. And one of my favorites since the very first time I seen them was the Zoo Peculiar.
Yeah, man.
Those boys, first time I saw them, I just fell in love with them. I mean, it's rock, space music, circus music from outer space, like rock, and it's just nobody else does what they do. Yeah, and they do it so well. It's just they're awesome. There's so many good bands, and we've had, through COVID, we lost a bunch. We did get a few new ones. And obviously like rocket bands like Sons of a Tradesman have built up. They came out of nowhere. Yeah, really. And they're just tearing it up.
All of a sudden, I was seeing stuff on social media with Spread the Dub and them, like, and in practice rooms and stuff, and I was like, "Who are these guys?" And then all of a sudden,
but there's a reason for it. All these guys are. I mean, it's not just rock energy. They're extremely talented musicians. Yeah, all of them. You talk about musician jealousy, like every one of them is a better musician than I am. Just even you being in a band with you just always blows me away. Your talent is just disgusting. Arguably, I could see you want to interview me because of what I've done in the scene and running prop, but musicianship wise, it's like Muhammad Ali interviewing Sylvester Stallone playing Rocky. He's just acting like a boxer. But
that's very flattering. But it's also, there's the truth is that the things in, I don't necessarily want this to turn into just a huge sort of mutual backslapping thing, but like there's in terms of songwriting and song crafting and knowing about what it is to be in a band and stuff like that, there's no one better than you. You're really good at it. And arranging songs and stuff, it's something to behold, actually. And the fact that you've sometimes got these whole songs written in your head and you just walk us through it. It's like already mapped out in there. And, that's not how I do things at all. And just knowing that, like I can't even imagine how you have this sort of fully formed kind of behemoth in your head and you just explain it to us like bit by bit. So, that's not true. You got a few tricks up your sleeve, old bean.
Well, I guess, it's sometimes I still kind of feel like I notice, in listening to podcasts now has been a thing. Yours, I've been listening to, Krista Makes from Less Than Jake podcasts for a while, where it's song, like some of our favorite artists breaking down their songwriting process and listening to it. I feel I experience music like different than most people that, like Andy Johnson, our bassist, can like spit out every member's name of like every band he's listened to, like all the details. Gearhead people, like I feel like I almost am like auditing it, kind of I enjoy it. Like I just enjoy it a different way. Like I enjoy what I enjoyed, and I enjoy it immensely. But I don't go to the level, and so sometimes I still feel like that little kid going into his first show or finding the new bands, even when I'm looking at the other musicians around me, because everybody's just so talented. I still feel like awesome. The point was that we just have so many amazing musicians right here in the local scene.
Yeah, man, that's actually the reason we started to do this podcast. And it's like, sometimes it might sound, because we say it so much, a little disingenuous, but it genuinely is true. Like, there are a lot of good musicians down here. It's criminal not to sort of shine more light on all these people, because there's just so much good stuff down here. Absolutely is.
And I feel bad because all these bands, I really, really love a lot of the bands around here, and it's more than just as I book them. Like, I've been doing it for so long. We're all friends. It's and pretty much family to me, a lot of them. It's hard to leave a bunch of them out, and
Yeah, I
specify
hear that.
some others, but there are a couple, like even like in the metal scene, two bands that were already bands like way back in the day that have been gone from the scene for like, I don't know, 8 to 10 years or something. They reunited during COVID. Rise is one of them. Afterbirth is one of them, and they just came back and just started shredding ridiculously good.
Yeah, awesome.
Like the metal scene's doing really well post COVID. All the other ones are kind of hurting, but starting to come back. It's good to see we're getting a few new bands coming out. In the metal scene, besides those guys reuniting and coming back, two amazing bands just exploded on the scene, and that's Crypt Keeper, and Black Denim Rage.
Yeah.
Both the bands, if you see they're playing anywhere they're playing, go check them out, and you'll see what I
Absolutely.
mean. Crypt Keeper's more death metal, and the amazing Morgan fronting it, and it's a conglomeration of other musicians from all the metal bands that have been around, all joining into it, and it's just disgustingly good.
Yeah.
But then I gotta say, the Black Denim Rage in the metal scene is like my jump out band. You gotta check these boys out.
Oh, sick.
They're just young kids. They're just these sweet young kids that are just busting out crazy thrash metal reminiscent of like early Metallica stuff, and it's just so good.
Oh, awesome.
Like, put them on the show with some of the older guys that have been playing for a while, and all of them are just like, damn. All right, these kids are doing something, and it's just...
No, that's great to hear.
That it's refreshing to see some young blood coming in and doing older style stuff and killing it. Oh man, speaking of that, another band I'm pretty excited about. Some young kids, and I'm talking about reimagining some older sounds. But a band called Subject to Change, found them online, and it's what I heard was like it's classic rock. Like late 70s, like I don't know, Chicago. I hear a little ABBA. I hear, and yeah, the harmonies and everything. And it's just the songwriting and structure of it is so reminiscent of stuff that is like way older than them.
Yeah.
And they're reimagining and making it modern. That I didn't believe they could do it. Like when I messaged them to see about booking, I'm like, you guys actually sound like this live? And they're like, oh no, yeah, we could do it. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll give you a chance to see it. And they just blew me away. And anybody I talked them up to that has seen them has all agreed they're really good. So watch out for Subject to Change. They're pretty good.
Yeah, cool.
On the punk scene, we finally got another new one that just had their first show of Prop. Pretty excited about, and that's Straight Jacket. And it's made up of members that have been in other bands, and it's just cool to see this one coming in because we've got lots of different types of punk bands around. This is my kind of punk, where it's like it's just pretty straightforward punk, and it doesn't have it's. I don't know what all the lyrics are about because it's punk. So, but it's not trying to be angry or with a shit. The singer, it's probably just because it was his first show as well, but he had a smile on his face the entire show. It's just like good energy punk. And
cool.
I'm really happy to have those boys as a part of the scene, the Straight Jacket boys.
That's great.
There's lots of good stuff. Even on the other side, we have a monthly show that's the Uproar open mic, Share Your Artistry open mic, and we get a lot more urban artists, R&B, and hip hop artists on it. And it's been a while since somebody really impressed me in it because it's not usually my forte of music,
Right.
but we still make sure Prop is for everybody. Everybody has a chance, no matter what they are, whether it's my personal taste or not. But it's rare that somebody like drops my jaw. And just this last weekend, we had an artist, Miss Cleo, get up there, and it was a 4-person. It was almost like 4-person gospel harmonies.
Oh, damn!
Done over just ridiculously well produced tracks. And
cool.
And like the whole room, like you just see everybody just like looked at each other like, wow,
that's awesome.
No, Miss Cleo, you see her performing. Check her out. It was definitely refreshing. We're getting some new people coming out in the scene, and it's really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I love going down to Propaganda and seeing what's going on, and I'm playing all the time. Otherwise, I'd be there more. But talking of playing, why don't you play us a couple of songs, mate?
All right. When you asked me to do it, I thought we have our new album coming out for No Name Ska Band Side 2, our album release party.
Yeah.
It's going to be August 7th. So I wanted us to play one of the songs on the tracks, and we wanted to do So Tired.
Yeah.
It was a song because it's a song that a lot of people haven't heard us play. We really didn't play it a lot out at shows because something about when we were playing it and practicing it just we never got it right.
Yeah.
In the like when we were playing, rehearsing it live, something that just wasn't clicking with the feel to it. So we weren't really excited about it.
Yeah.
But when we sat down and we recorded it and really broke it down and got everything right, it really became like a sleeper track.
Yeah, it's one of the more complicated ones to, as a full band, to perform because it's, there's a lot of harmonies. I'm switching between sax and guitar. There's a lot going on. I think honestly, it was just difficult to achieve. But now we've recorded it. We've got it going now.
Going into the studio, it was like one of our least favorite songs. Coming out of the studio, it was like, wow, that song really came through as a banger.
Yeah, totally.
So we want to do that one, and then. Thought, everybody's used to seeing me in the ska bands or other bands that I've been in and singing about drinking or partying. So I figured I would try and do some of my solo acoustic song I wrote that only a few people, like if you've gone to any of the open mic nights I used to do, maybe have heard, but not a little softer side of Matt Krug. I'll give you one of those too.
Yeah, cool. All right, get to it. Let's do this.
Of all the same old places, all the same old faces and their plastic smiles. So tired of looking in the mirror, always staring into bloodshot eyes. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? So tired of every day passing, bringing nothing but the same old thing. So tired of lighting all the fires, burning bridges just to feel the sting. What do you want from me? I've given everything I have to give. What do you want from me? This isn't any way to live. I've done enough time for a lifetime. Had enough, I'm getting out of here. Gonna stand by or lay down and die. Enough, I'm getting away from here. Whoa. So tired of the crooked politicians in the cheap suits and the thin disguise. So tired of this broken down palace being built around a house of lies. What do you want from me? What was sold is never what it seems. What do you want from me? While we walk in this waking dream. I've done enough time for a lifetime, and enough, I'm getting out of here. I gotta stand by or lay down and die. Had enough getting away from here. Whoa, whoa, I've done enough time for a lifetime. Had enough, I'm getting out of here. Gonna stand by or lay down and die. Had enough, I'm getting out of here. I've done enough time for a lifetime. Had enough, I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna stand by or lay down and die. Getting I don't know if I've been wasting time on you, but I'd like to know if you can look me in the eye and tell me I'm not right. Then I'd like to know which way the wind will blow. And will it take me? I'd like to know when you're done with me and all the memories are thrown away. When you're done with me, you'll still be my everything. You can say it once, you can say it twice. I won't trust your words, 'cause there's something wrong, and it won't be long till it comes to the light. You can't hide your feelings more than I can mine. You can't hide your feelings more than I can mine. And you know I can't lie, so I'd like to know, I'd like you to know when you're done with me and all the memories are old and gray. When you're done with me, you'll still be my everything. I don't know if I've been wasting time on you, but I'd like to know if you can look me in the eye and tell me I'm not right. Then I'd like to know, well, I'd like to know.
All right, man, that was great. It was nice to hear that song that you did on your own there. I don't think I've ever heard you play the harmonica before.
Well, it wasn't too bad. A couple flubs, but pulled it off. But you know, if I only sound like I'm a good harmonica player if you don't play the harmonica. But if you do, I don't really know what I'm doing. You know, just like when you ask me what chord am I playing, and I'm just like, here,
3.
Yeah, on this one, and you have to look and figure it out. I just gotta have an ear for things. You know, I taught myself guitar after, I was taught piano. It's like reading music and stuff like that, but left it all behind and taught myself just by ear on guitar, and like with the harmonica, I just figured out how to something that sounded good with it. I don't really know what I'm doing.
It's cool though. It's cool. You know about as much as what you're doing on a harmonica as I do, bro, which is, it works, it sounds good.
Yeah.
I do that too. I play the harmonica like that too, I enjoy it. Sounds like, proper Bob Dylan style, it's not, yeah. It's cool. So, I was going to, what I wanted to ask you, and I didn't get around to asking you earlier is, so a lot of the songs that you write, are very personal and also quite emotionally charged. And I wondered, do you find, and I also, because I know you very well, I know that you've had some traumatic events happen in your life. Do you find that writing about them has helped, A, and B, is there any other purpose to writing about these things that have occurred in your life?
Well, do I intentionally go into writing a song as a form of therapy? I don't think so.
Right.
You're writing out of emotions. So, and if something is real prominent on your mind at the moment, of course, it's going to be like the first thing that tends to come out or be related to. I would say almost every song I've ever written has started with a personal emotion about something that I'm going through or thinking about at the time.
Yeah.
Like So Tired, as much as I love prop, I felt like I was stuck for a little bit. You go through, I'm a person. I go through my own ups and downs and roller coaster of feelings, and I felt stuck, man, for a while, and so that song started coming out there. So
Yeah.
So some of it was real, like exactly what I was thinking or feeling, and that was in there. But then, so it always starts with me. But then I start to think universally about people who are feeling the same thing,
Yeah.
or that would be in that spot. So, like everything that I say in a song doesn't mean it actually happened to me or I was thinking it.
Right.
It might. Some of it is, and then so it always starts with the personal stuff, and then I tend to think universally about how
To make it relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think a lot. I think I've heard a lot of artists talking about that they do it. That they tend to do that as well, and I think
Yeah.
that's what makes a song.
So you start with a real emotion, a real thing,
Mhm.
and that's a very solid sort of foundation, to build on for sure.
But if you make it universal, then it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, and everybody hears what they want to hear in your song,
Yeah.
and relates it to how they feel, and I think that helps. I know it definitely helps me although I don't seek it out as a form of therapy, but I know it absolutely does when you get through a song, it can help you.
Yeah.
I put a lot of in our stuff. Our songs sound so happy.
Yeah.
And No Name Ska Band, it's like all high energy, upbeat, and but our songs are pretty dark. About addiction and death and depression, and
Yeah.
yet it's the
Well, when you-
happiest depressing songs.
When you met me was when I was starting to head down, like when it was going from being fun to being out of control. That's when you really, that's when we started doing the band, is when it was tipping over from fun to out of control for me. So you've seen me at my worst for sure, but also now at my best. So swings and roundabouts. Real quick, this show has a sponsor, and I haven't talked about them yet. There is a place that's very close to my heart because I am helping to run it with my father-in-law, and it's called Handlebars, and it is Handlebars Bar and Grill, and it's in Tequesta, right on US 1 there, on the border of Martin County and Palm Beach County. And it is a biker bar, so you can roll up there on your bike and park right out front. You can obviously come on four wheels too if you want. And actually, it's pretty interesting to come there and see all the different vehicles parked outside. There's always interesting stuff to take a look at. The food is great, and it's got loads of interesting beers on tap. And we also have live music there on So every second Thursday of the month, there is a bike night from 6 to 9. And then Saturdays, we have music from 5 to 8 p.m. And on Sundays, we have music from 2 to 5. And it's just a good, chilled out place. It's family friendly, dog friendly. You should come and check it out. It's Handlebars Bar and Grill. All right. So now we've got that done. The next thing I want to talk to you about is you have a very interesting looking guitar. I've always admired it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I got a couple. My main one is a Washburn Paul Stanley series, and it's actually my second one of those guitars. Oh, there it is. Yeah,
look at that. There he is.
That's the white one. I was kind of, oh man, it's cut off, but you can't see the chrome star tail stop piece on it, which I have to admit. So this is my second one. I had my original one. It was a black one I bought when I was probably like, I don't know, 20, 21. And to be honest, I'll be absolutely honest, I bought it all just because it had the star on it. I literally, and it just looked badass, you know.
I did. If I'm honest with you, I don't think I've ever bought. I want my guitars to sound good, but I'm always sold by the way they look, man.
Yeah, and the Paul Stanley series is kind of like an Explorer, but it has a rounded back, like most like normal guitars. It doesn't have the V at the end, like a full on Explorer. Yeah, and so I liked it because it looked cool, but it wasn't like full on too much metal, too metal, for me.
That's what I liked about it too. Yeah.
But the black one I got, I don't even think I knew it was Paul Stanley from Kiss's guitar. Like it was one of his when I bought it. I just had an affinity for stars at that age, and I'm like, yep, that's my guitar. But for a while I was playing with the Hard Richards for almost like
Big
6
up
years.
Richards.
And we played a show at like the Hideout or Hideaway or something in Delray, and the Hard Richards is a real party band. I mean, we're a party band, no Name Ska Band, but it pales into comparison, I think, with the Hard Richards.
I'd say so.
Days, and I honestly don't know if we all were carrying gear out. I don't know if it was left or if it actually fell out of the truck, but it definitely was nowhere at the venue the next day.
Yeah.
So I pretty much thought somebody had walked off with it, and it broke my heart. Just broke my heart for the black one. But so then I decided I'm going to go buy a white one of the exact same guitar, just in case, because I was like really trying to track it down. I was looking at pawn shops all over Florida, really trying. But if I found it, then I'd have, perfect interchangeable black and white, for a backup car and a guitar and a regular one.
Well, if anyone sees it, maybe it's still out there.
Yeah, if you know somebody that has a black Paul Stanley guitar with a chrome tail stop piece, the back will be all messed up from my double belt buckle.
Yeah. Your classic, your signature double belt situation.
When I bought it just the looks. It was a vanity guitar at first. I just fell in love with it when I saw it. But it actually, the Washburn, I've found and in playing other Washburns, and it like just the way it's set up, it's just real low flexibility without any buzzing or anything. To have it that low and the easy playability on it without it being wonky.
Sure.
It actually is a really good guitar.
Yeah.
A really good guitar, and I have another one that's. It's pretty cool too. Also another vanity. I think I was listening to a lot of Alkaline Trio at the time, and so I got a BC Rich Dagger.
Yeah,
it's a black one with 2 daggers as the F-hole cutaways.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I love your metal choices of guitar. So we both play Marshalls as well, don't we? Marshall amps, and I always think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like
we're dragging our big old tubes amps still. Like everything's moved on a little bit, but we're kind of stubbornly holding on to the half stacks,
Yeah, I mean, that's my kind of sound. Like I really love like the '90s punk, which was a Les Paul and a Marshall. That was the tone that everybody was rocking, and I don't know. I know you're a gearhead, like pedals and stuff, and I've never used them. I always just give me an amp that's got a good clean crunch and an overdrive. Yeah. And that's pretty much the wheelhouse that I write in, is those 3 tones.
Well, if I'm honest, I personally would go with a good amp distortion over a pedal, you know, if I had the choice. And when we play in No Name Ska Band, that is what I do. You know, I use the amp overdrive as the main overdrive for sure.
There's a time and place for everything in our music. It doesn't really need or require anything too much more, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
In one way, that might limit me in what I do right, I suppose. But at the other hand, I don't know. It's my wheelhouse, and I don't want to have to carry one more thing.
Oh, I get it, man. So at the end here, what we generally do is we talk about dates that are coming up, and seeing as you are a club owner, do you have any interesting stuff that's happening over at Propaganda coming up?
Yeah, man. Honestly, we have I'm just about to be rolling out just amazing shows for the next 3 months. We're going to be really, really busy and just killer shows. But coming up here, July 31st, Saturday, July 31st, we have the Queers coming back to Prop.
Yeah, cool.
And the Queers, you know, this is going to be the first really big tour band coming through Prop since we were forced to be closed in 2020.
How exciting.
So, it's such a good feeling. It's just like, all right, so we're back, you know.
Yeah.
And so really stoked on that one. And of course, you know, our album release party on August 7th.
Yes, for the side 2, it's good. We have been working on this record for like 3 years, I would say.
Well,
Look at us up there. Look at us. I love that
Oh,
picture.
there we go. Yeah, I'll tell you, that was a fun photo shoot day.
Absolutely. Hunter was behind the camera from Spread the Dub. We had a good laugh.
Yeah, Hunter Hutchins did our photos for it and sweated out with us in the heat. Yeah. I'll tell you, it's one thing wearing ski masks for a 40-minute set, but for like a 3-hour photo shoot or whatever it was we were doing out in the sun outside, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah. We suffer for our art.
You know, but so yeah, Hunter did those photos and that album. You know, we recorded it 3 years ago, and then we stopped working on it for like a year and a half, and then we just got back in and just knocked it out. That was because, you know, and I think it in some way had something to do with like what I was talking about, the interpersonal band dynamics. You know, when we had 2 members leave us right as we had finished recording it, and it just threw everything off. You know, it became hard to lock back down and finish it, like, because everything in the band had changed, and then we had to go through the struggle rebuilding. Yeah, and that's a perfect example of how things. The dynamics and the relationships in the band can totally hurt a band. Yeah,
and that's not even really necessarily in a negative way because you know, like everyone, what happened for perfectly sort of reasonable reasons. It was just it happened, and so it threw us off. You know, and it
changed. The dynamic changed, and the direction or the feel changed. It was. You know, and it's going to happen. Things change. People change. Yeah,
absolutely. And in a way, you know, everything sort of seems to happen for a reason sometimes. And just I know for me, having a bit of a break there was sort of necessary for my own sort of like mental health. I need some time to, you know, in recovery to get myself back to square one. And I have done it. And so then coming out and looking at it with fresh ears almost, it was nice to delve back into it, and we did a good job of it. I feel like, you know, we reproduced it ourselves.
Yeah,
you know,
it was you know, it happened the way it was supposed to. Now we have, and after taking such a long break, though, it was just so nice to finally get this out. I'm so excited to get this out, play the show. August 7th is going to be ridiculous. I couldn't have even have guessed, but how it happened was funny. Chris DeMakes from Less Than Jake is actually going to be opening up for us on our album release party, which to me is just like it's just ridiculous. You know?
I know, yeah.
It's Chris DeMakes.
I know, it's crazy.
You know, and but you know, he's played Prop a few times, and he actually called me out of the blue. He always seems to call me when I'm having my morning cup of coffee. But by morning cup of coffee, I mean around 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That's my morning.
Crack at noon.
But he called me and actually he was reaching out to me. He just wanted to do something for Prop because he's like I need a vacation because, you know, their band wasn't playing. They couldn't tour anywhere, and he's like, and I'm sure Prop could use it. Like I want to come and just I need to get out. I want to come down and play something for you. I'm like, well, our album release party's coming up. He's like, bet, let's do it.
That's so exciting.
So
definitely a candidate for simulation theory. That like, is this really happening? You know,
yeah,
super cool.
and of course we got the Muggles, which are our new drummer Justin Gianotsos is the singer of the Muggles, and Andy, our bass player, actually is playing. I forget if he's bass or guitar for them now, but
might be wrong.
It's going to be their. So it's our first show back since 2020. It's going to be the Muggles' first show back for 2020. We got Krista Makes from Less Than Jake. We got a sick band that called Neverless, and they're coming out of St. Pete. Some young kids. They're ska adjacent type ska punk like ours, and but the singer just seems really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing what these kids bring.
Oh, neat.
And the Hijas de la Muerte.
Yeah.
3 amazing girls. Witch punk.
Yeah.
They're just awesome.
I've been involved in previous iterations of that band. I'm looking forward to seeing them rock out. They're cool ladies.
So it's going to be a great show. And then check out Propaganda's Facebook page for their event listings for all the other ones. I'm going to be rolling out ridiculous shows for the next 3 months. But the other one I do want to mention, because I tell everybody they got to see this band every time that they come down. It is literally one of the best shows. Everyone who sees them always says it, and that is Daikaiju.
Right, yeah.
Daikaiju, I'm so stoked. You know, another band that usually they come every October.
Those are the guys that just like pull the kit apart and set stuff on fire and all that and everything.
You never know what to expect from them, and each time they come, I'm like, how the hell are they going to top what they did the last time? And they always do, but the last time they were here, they led they wear masks, not unlike another band I know, but they don't say a word.
You mean the Acrobats?
Yes. It's all instrumental surf rock. It's like Dick Dale on acid, and they wear kabuki masks.
Kabuki,
but it's amazing how the energy of the show and how they can actually control an audience without saying a word is. I haven't seen another band that does it like them.
Wow.
And the last show ended with them walking the entire audience out to the street, banging their drums and getting on top of their van and lighting their van on fire. It really looked where I was just praying a cop didn't drive by right at that moment. It looked like a freaking riot outside of Prop.
For some reason, when stuff like that's going on, it always ends up fine. I don't know why. It's just like weird, like luck like that. Maybe.
So when I always wonder how they're gonna top their last performance, this time I'm actually a little scared. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to have a talk with him ahead of time.
Yeah.
He lies to me. He's like, I'm like, what are you gonna do this time? Just so I know. He's like, nothing special this time. Oh, let's go start a riot. So, but it's October 15th. So if you get a chance, you want to check out Daikaiju. It's definitely one of the best shows that comes through Prop.
Yeah, the real spirit of rock and roll is in those guys for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we always do a shameless plug at the end. Killbillies, even though Hector is away,
I'll
on
never forgive you,
vacation
Hector.
and is very much missed, we're going to say. Killbillies, me and James are going to do a couple of shows. We've got 3 to 6 at the Square Grouper on this Saturday, on the 24th, and we've got Paddy Max from 9 to 12. So if you need your fix of me and James, you can come and see us twice on Saturday. All right. So listen, Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm sure Hector is very much sad that he couldn't be here as well. But it's been nice to sit down and have a chat with you. It is always nice to sit down and have a chat with you. So.
Likewise, Benjamin.
Yeah, man. Take it easy, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, see ya.